Hi, Vinny from Shelter Cove Marina. This is an orientation of your new SeaFox center console. In this video, I will go over the essential functions and key features you'll need to know out on the water. This will cover all of the SeaFox center consoles, even though the layout might differ between models, the functions are all going to be the same. So let's get started. Let's go over what we have at the helm. Here we have all of our switches. The first one is the horn switch. Next is the nav and anchor light. Push it once, it illuminates blue. That'll give you the red and green up front and the white anchor light up on top. Push it again, it illuminates red. That'll give you your anchor light up on top only. Next is your bilge pump manual switch. Your bilge pump is fully automatic even when the battery switch is off. This is a manual backup just in case that switch fails. Next is your aerator pump, which will fill up your Livewell, and we'll go over that shortly. Next is the washdown pump. You can turn this on, hook up your hose, it'll pressurize the raw water system, and you can use it as needed. Same with the freshwater. You also have a hose in the back, and you can turn this on, it'll pressurize, shut off, and you can use it as needed, also with the sink down in the center console. Your courtesy and mood lights are the lighting around the deck. This also has two positions which will illuminate different lights. Underwater lights, if equipped, will be lights that go off of the transom. Two accessory switches for add-ons at a later date. Also here we have trim tabs. These are only to level the boat. To use them, if the boat is leaning to the port side and you want the starboard bow to go down, hit the starboard switch down in the front and the boat will level off, and vice versa. If the boat is not acting properly and you want to return the tabs to the normal position, just hold both switches down for about 5 to 8 seconds and it'll fully retract the trim tabs and you'll start over. You also have your stereo that will go into further detail, your GPS up here, your Yamaha key and lanyard, and the tilt wheel, which you push the tab on the bottom and it'll adjust the steering wheel to your like. Your VHF stereo, or VHF radio up here. We'll go over that in further detail. Some boats will have it, some will not. Also your Yamaha shift and throttle. To operate this, there's no push button. Just simply push forward to go into forward, and the boat will start moving forward, and further is throttle. Return to the center for neutral. Backwards is to put the boat into reverse, and throttle is further past that. Again, neutral in the center. On this particular boat, your battery switch is underneath it here. We'll go over that in further detail. And inside this storage bin, you have a USB to charge your cell phone, an aux plug for the stereo, and a DC outlet to charge accessories. Up here on SeaFox's Ultima hardtop, we have a couple of switches as well. We have spreader lights, which will illuminate the spreader lights off of the hardtop. This will differ between models. Some will have just a rear, some will have a rear and a front, and some will also have two off of the sides, which will have corresponding switches. Mist will activate the mister system. This is fresh water that comes from your freshwater tank and sprays down on you for hotter days or even to keep those pesky bugs away. Next we have white lights up on the hardtop, which will illuminate and give you good lighting. We also have a red option here. For at night, it's a little bit easier on the eyes. We also have storage in the hardtop, and your fuses for everything in the hardtop are up here and labeled accordingly. Now to go over your dual battery selector switch. In the off position is when the boat is not in use. For normal operation, move to the all position. This will turn on both batteries, and when the engine is running, it will also charge both batteries. When you're at rest and using accessories, select either battery 1 or battery 2. This way, if you deplete this battery, you have the other battery to start the engine. Once the engine is running, go back to the all position. This will charge both batteries again. When you're done using the boat for the day, go to the off position. This will shut off all accessories in the boat, and your automatic bilge pump will still operate. Here we have two Yamaha gauges. One is your speed and fuel, and the other is your tachometer. On the speed and fuel, you can view your trip meter, which is how many miles the vessel has traveled. To reset it, hit set and mode simultaneously for 2 seconds. Next, you have a flow meter, which will give you how many gallons per hour you are burning. Next is economy, your miles per gallon. And last, you have how many gallons the engine has consumed. You can also reset this by hitting set and mode simultaneously for 2 seconds. Up top, you have your miles per hour, and off to the side is your fuel gauge. On the tach, you have your RPM display and your engine trim off to the side. This will indicate where the engine is trimmed. On the bottom, you have a couple of different views. The first one is your battery voltage. Just above low is 12 volts. At about 2/3 is 14.5 volts. While the engine is running, you know the battery is charging. If you hit mode, next will be displayed your engine hours. Hit mode again for your oil pressure. This will be all the way at low when the engine is not running, and about 2/3 when the engine is running. Depending on RPM, it will vary. And last, you have your engine temperature. This should stay somewhere right around the middle. If it goes all the way to high and the engine alarm sounds, your engine is overheating. Now to go over the Garmin unit. I'm going to go over a few key features, but you'll get great resource for further information on Garmin's website, and they also have video tutorials. Here you will find your charts. Go to the navigation chart. This will give you a dotted line on everywhere the boat has been. It also has historical depth contours. Anything in the darker blue is going to be 3 feet and under. Anything in the lighter blue is navigable and 3 feet to 7 feet. Go lighter blue is 7 feet to 14 feet. White is going to be 15 feet and above. Now when you're panning around like this, hit stop panning and it'll center back to your boat. If you go back to the home screen, you also have your sonar. A couple of choices here, and this is going to vary by what transducer you have on your boat. Here we have a traditional transducer with chirp. This will give you your basic readout, water temperature and voltage here. Split frequency will give you 2 different hertz. This one has 200 hertz and 77 hertz. This is good for different depths. Also, you have some flasher, data graphs, and recording you could do as well. Combos are going to let you customize your screen. You could split navigation and different views. Here's one that is good for fishing. You have your navigation chart over here, and your depth sounder over here. Plus you can customize where you put the information layout. Here is Active Captain. This is where you can sync your smartphone or tablet to your Garmin unit. This is going to allow you to download any of the updates that Garmin has, also update your maps, plus join the contour community where you get all the updated depth contours on your maps. There's 2 great videos on YouTube that Garmin has. One to set up the Wi-Fi network so you can connect to it, and the second is how to use it. On some of our SeaFox models, we also integrate the Yamaha engine gauges to the GPS. This will give you all your engine information through this unit. Now to go over a few features on your Kicker Marine stereo. On the top you have your source and power button. This will let you select between FM, AM, weather band service, USB port, auxiliary port, or Bluetooth. To select, depress the wheel. Push the menu button to enter pairing mode, change your Bluetooth connected device, or disconnect devices. For further information on how to operate the stereo, visit Kicker's website or video tutorials on YouTube. On the bow seating, you have retractable backrests. Pull these out to deploy them and they lock into place. To retract them, push the button in the back and they'll lock back into place. Also underneath the seating you have additional wet-dry storage. Here we are housing our Coast Guard equipment, which includes 4 life jackets, a throwable, flares, fire extinguisher, and also your anchor, line, and chain. All of these seats are removable and you can snap them into place. Up on the bow you have your anchor locker. This houses your anchor, chain, and rode. When you deploy the anchor, you tie it off to the cleat here. You can close the hatch and the line will run out of this notch. Now inside your center console, behind this canvas, you have access to wiring and additional fuses. Down below is a compartment to access the battery on this particular model. Also, your porta potty is stored down here as well. Depending on your model, you'll either have a removable porta potty or a stationary head with a pump out system. With the pump out system, you will have a fitting on the gunnel that a pump out station will remove the waste for you. With the removable porta potty, you want to fill your tank with fresh water and blue detergent. To use the porta potty, open the lid, open up the trap, use the toilet, and then to flush, pump the pump on the side here. That will put the fresh water into the toilet and down into the holding tank. Once you're finished, close the trap door and you're all set. To dump the porta potty, in the back there is a lever that releases the top from the waste tank. You'll take this waste tank to a dumping station. Deploy this tube and remove the cap and dump into your wasting station. There's also an air relief here to help you dump it out. Once it's empty, open up the trap door and wash it out with some fresh water. Then reassemble your porta potty. Make sure the front is latched in and push down on the back, and you're all set. And to go over your pressurized Livewell system. Pressurized Livewell will completely fill up and pressurize so the water doesn't slosh around and beat up the bait while traveling. Activate your Livewell switch at the helm and open up the valve to start the water flow. Close the drain at the bottom to fill up the tank. It will exit out of this valve here. To meter the pressure, you can adjust the fitting here to allow a certain amount of water to leave the Livewell. Also, you can meter the input water to adjust the pressure as well. To drain the Livewell, open up the valve at the bottom and the Livewell will fully drain out. Now, depending on your model, you will find your raw water outlet. To operate this, activate the switch at the helm and it will pressurize your system. You can hook a hose up to this fitting and use it as needed. Here on the transom is your fresh water fitting. On this particular model, it's enclosed inside of this cap. To operate this, turn the switch on at the helm, pressurize the system, and you can use it as needed. When you shut the hose end off, it'll repressurize and shut the pump off. The access panel in the splash well houses your 2 bilge pumps and your aerator pump. Down there is your float switch for your primary bilge pump. Next to it's your secondary bilge pump with a water activated switch 6 inches higher than normal. This will activate if a lot of water is coming into the bilge. Over here is your aerator pump. There is a seacock handle that will shut this water supply off if one of these hoses fail. On the aft of the vessel is your telescoping stainless steel swim ladder. After use, make sure you wash this off with fresh water and oil it occasionally. When you're finished for the day, you want to flush out your engine with fresh water. To do so, trim the engine up fully, remove the fitting on the side of the cowling, connect your hose. Turn the hose on and let it run for about 5 minutes. This will run fresh water throughout your entire engine. When you're finished, shut the hose off and reconnect this fitting. Make sure the seal is in place and the fitting is tight. If this fitting is not on, the engine will overheat. Now, before you start the vessel, make sure your engine is trimmed all the way down. You never want to run the engine out of the water. It could damage the water pump. Now just turn the key and start it up. There's a lanyard below the key that if it is detached, it will kill the engine. This is for safety. You can attach this to yourself in case you fall out of the captain's chair. If this is not attached, you'll get a steady alarm and the engine will not start. First thing to check is make sure your lanyard is attached. For shifting, simply push the lever forward and the boat goes into gear and moves forward. Further is throttle. The center is neutral and backwards is reverse. In the event of an engine overheat, you'll get a steady alarm like this, and the engine will go into power reduction mode, limiting your RPMs to 1500. If this happens, shut the engine down immediately and anchor up if necessary. Let the engine cool down and restart and try it again. If the overheat persists, you'll have to get towed in. Do not run the engine while it's overheating. It will further damage the engine. With your new Yamaha engine, you have a 10-hour break-in period. During this 10 hours, you want to refrain from any water sports, such as towing a tube, wakeboarders, or skiers. During this 10 hours, you want to get the boat onto plane and vary the engine RPMs as you cruise. Also, wide open throttle at short burst. After the 10 hours, you can use the boat as you please. At 20 hours, you have an initial service that must be performed by a Yamaha dealer. Give us a call and we can schedule this for you. This concludes the video orientation of your SeaFox center console. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us. From all of us here at Shelter Cove Marina, thank you for your boat purchase, and we know you're going to enjoy your time out on the water.